The Trump administration is reversing course on a newly proposed policy that threatened to strip many international students of their visas. The federal guidance would have forced foreign students taking online classes at American colleges and universities to return to their home countries. And this comes as many schools say they're not planning to open or reopen campuses this fall. Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey filed a lawsuit Monday on behalf of 17 states and the District of Columbia seeking an injunction against the rule. Just a day later, the government rescinded the policy. It was in response to a separate court proceeding, though, for a similar lawsuit filed by MIT and Harvard. And Massachusetts State Attorney General Maura Healey joins us now to discuss all of this. First, I just want to ask, what is your reaction to the administration rescinding this rule?
Well, I am thrilled. This is a rule that never should have been issued in the first place. It is a victory for students all across this country. It's a victory for our colleges and universities as well. So I am thrilled that I think the Trump administration, seeing the weight of these lawsuits against them, change course.
Now, the administration previously cited national security as the reasons for this, saying it would have been harder to keep tabs on these international students if they don't have a physical attachment to campus. Are you buying that?
Not at all. I mean, this was an administration that back in March actually extended these visas to foreign students for online learning because they're in the United States, but they physically couldn't be on campus, as no students could. So it doesn't make sense. The administration said one thing in March, and then here in July, they issued this new rule that basically was going to force colleges and universities to physically open their campuses so that students could go in person. And if they didn't, they were going to face the loss of all their international students, hundreds of thousands of international students who attend our colleges and universities, who we need in these schools, who provide revenue for these schools, as well as contributing to the economic and academic environment. So it's reasoning that made absolutely no sense. And what I frankly think this was about was just another anti-immigrant, anti-foreigner, xenophobic attack by the Trump administration. In addition to it serving Trump's purpose to make it seem like everything is fine heading into the fall, if he can show that schools were in fact open and students were attending. But in doing so, he would have put students and faculty at risk. And I'm just so glad that the decision has been made to rescind this rule.
So you, just to clarify, you feel that there was real malice behind this step by the administration?
Well, I'm not going to make a judgment as to what was really going on. I can tell you what wasn't going on was any adherence to data or science or public health, because every public health expert would tell you that the last place you want a whole bunch of students and faculty returning to is campuses this fall if they're not safe. And right now, the coronavirus continues to rage. So this just made no sense. Remember, our colleges and universities had made plans to give their courses online, remote learning, and this was totally disruptive. So again, I think it was xenophobic, I think it was anti-immigrant, and I think it was to punish our colleges and universities and to try to bully them into physically opening their campuses. But I think once the Trump administration realized that, you know, our international students contributed $42 billion to our economy last year, the last thing we need to do is lose them.
Right, and you know, if you lose one international student now, the likelihood is they're not coming back. They'll look for more welcoming places to study. You've also accused the administration of violating the Administrative Procedure Act. Explain that.
So basically, whenever the administration is trying to come out with a new rule or regulation, it has to offer a policy reason for it. It has to explain things. And here the Trump administration didn't do that. In the face of this raging public health crisis, they issued a rule that was going to force schools to physically reopen or lose all of their international students. And it made no sense. And so that's what we call in the law arbitrary and capricious. And we think we had a strong case. It's now been rendered moot as a result of the Trump administration and ICE's reversal of the rule. So it's a real victory and an important victory. I'm sorry that it took us going to court to achieve this, but it never should have happened in the first place. And I also think that here today we could have an international student or graduate student who currently is working on a cure or a treatment or a vaccine for this very coronavirus pandemic, and to think that we would have lost them due to the president's efforts to play political games is really shameful. But again, I'm just so happy with the reversal.
And even though there has been the reversal, though, are these international students out of the woods? Are there still challenges they may face as they learn remotely even?
Well, certainly I think there will be challenges for all students learning remotely. But for now, unless the administration changes course once again, I sure hope that they don't. And if they do, we will again take them to court. My hope is that both colleges and universities and our international students get back to the business of learning and planning for the fall semester.
And just before I let you go, I want to ask about another lawsuit that you filed seeking to declare drivers of Uber and Lyft as employees rather than independent contractors. What spurred that?
So this is really important. We filed a lawsuit today against Uber and Lyft because they treat their drivers not as employees. They treat them as independent contractors, which means that they don't have the assurance that they're going to get paid minimum wage or overtime. The companies don't pay into unemployment insurance or workers' compensation. So it's a big problem and it needs to be fixed. The gig economy is growing in this country and we need its business practices to match up with our laws that are there to protect businesses as well as workers.
All right, out there fighting on behalf of international students and drivers of Uber and Lyft, Attorney General of Massachusetts, Maura Healey, thank you so much for your time today.
Be with you. Thank you.